New Year, everybody. I'm so excited about 2019. I hope you are too. I am Major Mom, the founder of Major Organizers. I used to be a major in the United States Air Force, and my husband nicknamed me Major Mom after my daughter was born. Then 18 months later, my son was born, and at that point, I decided that Major Mom needed to get out of the Air Force to be a better mom. So I resigned my commission and stayed home with my kiddos for about a year and a half until I stumbled upon what my true passion and my true gifts were. Although I was very good at my jobs in the military and I had some stressful ones, they were doozies. There was something better that I had to give to the world, and that was my organizing skills. 12 years ago, I started Major Organizers, and I have loved every minute of it. I cannot say I loved every minute of my time in the military, but I wanted to share some things with you today that I learned in the military, and now I apply to the Major Mom method of organizing. I apply to everything I do when we organize clients. But first, before I share with you some tips of how we organize, we call it the Major Mom method because you must have an organized approach to organizing. I hope that doesn't sound too bizarre to you. We do have it on our website, every step that we use when we organize. But first, let me inspire you before I possibly bore you with how we do things. First thing I want to inspire you with is a couple stats. The average American spends 55 minutes a day, 5, looking for things that they know they own, but cannot find. Now, Newsweek did this research years ago. This stat has been around for a long time. I feel like it might be more now with all of the digital photos that we have. We have so many digital files. Oh my goodness, we really have converted one medium of papers and photos to the digital medium. So now it's even harder to find things. If the average American is spending 55 minutes a day looking for things that they know they own but can't find, how much time is a disorganized person spending? And I mean a very disorganized person. I know personally what happens to me when I can't find something that I'm looking for. First, what happens is I get a little frustrated. Typically, it seems to be as I'm approaching 50, I seem to put my phone down in places I don't remember. Just when I'm around the house or I need to go to the bathroom and I set it down. Just little things like that, like looking for my phone. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm disorganized. It means that, wow, my memory is getting really bad. Pay attention. I'm not talking about little things like that. I'm talking about something's happened and you need a document. Something at school has occurred and you need to pull up a transcript. Something that you need for a meeting and you cannot find it. You need to get out the door for your tennis match and you can't find your tennis racket. You need to get somewhere and those very important certain special pair of shoes that you need for that recital are nowhere to be found. I'm talking about things that you need and you can't find them. It's very frustrating. And that leads to stress and all kinds of other things. A lot of my clients say the first thing they do when they cannot find what they're looking for is turn on the first person that's near them. Now, you know you do this too. That means if your husband's right next to you, the first thing you're going to do is, honey, did you move that piece of paper? Or where did you put my mail? And it is so funny that we will not admit that we may have been the cause of not being able to find our stuff. So the second group of people we tend to turn on immediately after the husband, if they're not around, or the wife, because organizing is not a female trait. It's a human trait that not all of us have. So there are many men that are incredibly organized and many women that are incredibly organized. This is not a genetic trait. The next group of people that we turn on is our children. Those poor babies. How many times have we looked at them and said, I told you not to touch my keys. Now, where did you put them? And we're certain that their little hands moved them. Now, every once in a while, those of us who had toddlers know they certainly will get their hands on our keys, and we have no idea where they dropped them. So we look in toy bins and we do all that. I'm talking about the keys and the phones that get removed from the children here and there. That's a phase and it passes. I'm talking about the things that you really need and you cannot find them. We have found wedding rings, checks for $5,000, checks for $25,000. We have found so many treasures when we organize for our clients. And that is the most exciting part about getting organized, is the treasures that you find. So that was a little inspiration for you to start this January getting organized, because guess what? January is the National Get Organized Month. Go figure. More people want to get organized than lose weight. And here's an insider tip. Many people who get organized lose weight because some of the weight is actually stress related. And it's so unfortunate that when you work out and you're eating well and you still can't get rid of that little belly, a lot of that is from stress, the cortisone, and all kinds of things we won't get into today. That, man, when you get organized, you feel so good. You start losing weight, and you feel better about yourself, and you actually feel lighter. Your spirit, your body, everything. So we help clients lose 500 to 1,000 pounds a day. You know, I'm talking about stuff, not their body weight. That is so freeing. So how do we do this? Well, we help our clients recognize the major impacts of disorder on their life. You got to just face the facts. Putting our head in the sand doesn't help us or motivate us to get organized. We talk about the major impacts of their life, on their life. And once we understand those, because they tell us, then we talk about the major roadblocks that they're experiencing to get organized. So every time we know that all of our clients in all of our locations, San Antonio, Texas, and Columbus, Indiana, Denver, Colorado, Colorado Springs, we have a referral partner in Phoenix, Arizona, and right now we realize our clients need to understand the major impacts and the roadblocks. The roadblocks could be wide and varied, and goodness gracious, I have personally experienced these roadblocks, and I have called out to my team of liberators for help. Each time I have relocated over the last 7 years, I have reached out to one of my teammates for help. Why? Because why should I do it all myself? Yes, I am organized, and I love to do it, but sometimes there's just not the time in the day to do it the way you want it to be done. So I hire people to help me. I usually tell them what I want and everything, and I have an idea and vision for my home. But roadblocks could be relocations, divorce, death, children moving back home with you, illnesses. Goodness gracious, there's so many roadblocks to getting organized that alone is a reason to be wise and call out for help. If you have an organized friend or an organized family, consider yourself a family member organized, or consider yourself very lucky. I have my little notes here because I want to look what's on the back. I have this clipboard with me on Shark Tank, so it's one of those treasures that even though it's cracked, I'm not going to get rid of it until it stops holding the papers on the clipboard. So don't judge me. I keep things that aren't necessarily beautiful, but they're functional and they work. So once we get clear on the major impacts and the major roadblocks, then we really get down to business and we talk about the majorly simple steps to getting your home back on track. And some people think there is going to be nothing simple about getting this crazy, chaotic house back on track. And I think what breaks my heart the most is that people have called us and said they are praying for a lightning storm so that their house will be struck by lightning. I've said to them, how about just pray you can find the money to hire us, because this would save you a lot more stress and time if we just come in and organize versus the hell you're going to go through if you actually lost a house to a fire or lightning bolt. Of course, they're not being serious, but something deep down inside is saying they can't stand living like this anymore. And the range at which this varies the level of clutter that people have all over the board. Some people can have 27 items only in the whole house out of order, and it could drive them crazy. And some can have 27,000 things out of place and out of order, and it doesn't bother them. We don't know where you are on that spectrum, but the most important thing is don't worry about where Major Mom is, or the Liberators, or your neighbor. Worry about where are you? When do you lose it? If you feel like you're losing it all the time and maybe self-medicating or leaving the house, eating out all the time, then it's time to wise up and get somebody to help you. Don't always try to be a DIY. But these tips are for my DIYers. First step to getting your home organized, especially it's January and it's Get Organized month. The very first step is stop the incoming. No, I'm not talking about bombs. I'm reading some of the things that people are writing, so I'm answering them as I speak. No, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about stop shopping, stop going to garage sales. God help you if you are one of the people who went to the stores the day after Christmas and bought all the Christmas supplies because they were on sale. Yes, I have family members that do that. We have clients that do it. It usually results in just tons of stress. Yes, the money was very low that they spent, but now they have 17 boxes of Christmas cards that still aren't being used, and tons of bows and tons of things. And so stop the incoming is the first step in getting organized. And that is the step that most people refuse to do. And that's tough, because until you stop things coming into your home and your environment, it just feels like a never-ending process. So buck up and make a decision today that this is the first day of the rest of your life, and you're going to stop shopping because things are on sale. See if you could just stop shopping, period, except for food. Just try it for a week. Sometimes you might realize it's nice not having all that stuff to put away every time you get home. Now, again, shopping is relative. You may only buy a couple things a week or a month, and some people might buy a couple of things a day or more. So just figure out where you are on that and decide, I'm going to stop bringing things into my house, at least until you get organized. Step 2, the next thing you do is you conquer the clutter in your home by getting rid of everything you don't need, want, you don't use it, you don't even love it. Just get rid of it. Give it to Salvation Army. Give it to a charity nearby. Don't get hung up on where it goes and have perfect places where you need to donate your things. The most thing we hear after organizing over 1,500 households is, I don't want to just give it to Goodwill. And when we say, why is that? They repeat some kind of story that they've created in their mind, or people have created about Goodwill. I don't care where you go and donate your items. I'm just saying, go to the closest place. It makes it easier to make the decision. So pull up on your GPS closest donation place, and if it's Goodwill, just have faith in God and the universe that Goodwill will get your things to where it needs to be. If you're absolutely dedicated to one place or the other, then drive over there. But what I'm trying to point out at this point is, when you conquer the clutter in your home by getting rid of everything you don't use, need, want, or love, that opens up for the last step of actually organizing. So you have to stop the incoming. You have to conquer the clutter by just decluttering. This is very easy. Right now, if you have me on and you're watching, can you go get 5 books off of your bookshelf right now that you know you're never going to read? Or maybe there are books that you have purchased during a time during your life, like many of us, where we had all the self-help books and the men who hate women and the women who love them we all have these books that really are from another season of our life where we remind ourselves of the dumb 20s. We were so dumb in our 20s and 30s. So go find books right now that you know that you can get rid of. Come back and watch this in a replay if you need to. If you don't have any books and you're already really good in that category, then okay, go get 5 shirts, 5 pairs of socks, 5 something. Some category in your house you know is completely overwhelming to you. There's no judgment here. I'm not going to tell you how many books you should have. I'm not going to tell you how many clothes you should have. All I'm going to tell you is that whatever books you have, hopefully fit on a bookshelf. Whatever clothes you have, hopefully fit in your closet. I like to say the home we live in decides the amount of stuff we can have. Period. There's no debating it. The size of your home determines the amount of stuff you can have. So if you have a tiny home, then you need less stuff. If you have a bigger home, trust me, we organize a lot of big homes, and there's a lot of stuff in those homes, a lot of nooks and crannies. I've been always amazed when I open a closet how much stuff comes out when you pull it on the floor. You think, how was this in here? But it was in there. So on to the last thing. You've stopped the incoming, stop bringing stuff in your home. You've gotten rid of the things that are pretty easy just to go through and grab and pull. So that's not really organizing, that's cherry picking. That's just going through. If you hate it, let it go. Now, if it's someone else is in the home, you can't get rid of other people's stuff. In our rules of engagement at Major Organizers, we're very clear. We will not participate in getting rid of other people's stuff without their permission. Okay, just focus on your own stuff. Trust me, we all have enough clutter that if we work on our areas, other people in our household are inspired to work on theirs. So get your stuff done first. Like we tell some of our moms and dads, don't go tell your kids to go make their bed if your bed is not made. Hello? This is common sense. So that's why we say, get your areas done, and we can go after the family. Okay. Now you're going to organize one room at a time because you've filled up trash bags of clothes and kitchen gadgets and books, and you're taking those in tomorrow to walk through your house and go, I don't want any of this. Now we're going to organize it. And the best thing you can do when you organize is organize one room at a time or one drawer. Some people have so much clutter, one drawer is enough. Get that drawer organized, take everything out that doesn't belong there, and it feels so good. Completing a task, as small as it may seem to some of you or sound to some of you, completing that one drawer, that one closet, that one room, take this huge home organizing task down to a manageable bite. Completing any task of any size and checking off that list feels so good because God designed us to be doers and accomplish tasks. Not a million, but just accomplishing. It's like making meals. That's a task and you accomplish it and it feels good. When we get that high when we're organizing, you wonder why the liberators that are in your home are so happy. People are like, you people are so happy. That's because we just completed 10 to 15 tasks as a team together with our client, and it feels so good. The endorphins are hitting our brain, body, the cortisol's down. All these scientific things happen that I can't really speak on very clearly and with much education, but I experience it all the time. Not only in my own home, but when I'm organizing with clients with my team of liberators. So you organize one area at a time using the Major Mom method of organizing. This Major Mom method is an organized approach to organizing. And this is why I said at the beginning of this video, I learned many of these things in the military. And let me tell you, when you have 2 to 4 minutes to make something incredibly critical happen in your career field, an operations environment, and I'm not going to say what I'm talking about because it's top secret, but when you have very little time to accomplish a lot of tasks, you have to be very organized. And so this Major Mom method, which is on our website, I'll put it in a link in the comments box. This method helps, and it's so important because the first thing I'm going to tell you is that 90% of our clients and people that we work with do this method backwards. And then they don't understand why they can't get organized. And I'll tell you what that means. The last step in organizing is containerizing, getting the right container, not cabinets and shelves, because those are the big foundational pieces of organizing. I mean the baskets and bins and the pretties and all the things that people buy because they're on sale and they look pretty and they think, if I buy this pretty blue thing, I'm going to get organized. But unfortunately, the pretty blue thing or the polka dotty thing may not actually be used in the organizing process because it doesn't actually work or it doesn't fit the space. The first part of the Major Mom method is to have a vision of how you want the space. Sit down and think. If you had all the time and all the money in the world, how would you want this space to look and function? And then do it design on a dime version. If you don't have a ton of money, you can still get that vision without a ton of money. But sometimes people don't know what they want. Carrie Conley, my dear, dear friend, she will tell you and teach you to get clarity of your vision. When we come in, we're just asking for very simple things. Would you want this room to function like? Right now, I'm living in a very small place with 2 kids, a husband, and 2 cats. And so my master bedroom has to have 3 functions. You have to have the bed area, the romance, rest, and what else area. And then I have my prayer area, and then I have my office. So sometimes that's not necessarily my dream, but I have to make something work. And so you come up with a vision that's going to work for the house you live in now and the season of life you're in now. That might mean that your guest bedroom needs to have 3 functions. Hey, guess what? If you only use that guest bedroom 3 times a year, the other 90% of the year or whatever is for you. So make it an office, make it a craft room. Okay, your guests will be just fine if it's organized when they get there. They just need a soft place to sleep. A lot of times people keep that guest bedroom pristine and unused all year long. Meanwhile, their kitchen and their dining room is full of papers and crafts and other things. So I give you permission to use your guest room for you too. Just be a guest in your own house, I guess. Now, you've pictured it, you've got a good vision of what you want, then you plan. This is another failure point for even some people that when we train people through the Major Mom Academy, they just chomping at the bit on their first job or their first academy job to start organizing and sorting and doing things. And we have to pull them back and say, stop. You know the client's vision. Now we need to come up with a space plan and an action plan. Because this is the military part. Planning takes you so far. It's like an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Failure to plan is planning to fail. I mean, this is something that most military people, they do without even thinking because we're so programmed to plan. That doesn't mean you have to take 5 days to plan. That's OCD. That's perfectionism. We're talking about take 30 to 40 minutes and plan. Each time our academy students that go through the Major Mom Academy stop and think and plan, they see that when we get to the 3rd phase of the Major Mom method, that it just, bam, it just executes so nicely. So we've got a good picture of what we want, which is called Picture It, which is our vision of how we want that space or the home. Plan It is the space plan and the action plan. And 3rd, this is the great fun part now. We're finally here. We get to organize by sorting things, treasuring it, meaning pick out what you want to keep, donate, recycle, whatever doesn't stay goes. Sort, treasure, establish a home, bookshelf, wherever, what furniture are we going to use? Establish homes and zones for that room. Put it away in the proper place and proper container, and then start new habits. Most people have a hard time starting new habits, and that's okay. By the time we're done working with our clients, we know what some of those new habits need to be, and we send them an email that says start new habits, or we send them some homework emails. But more importantly, when we work side by side with you, we have virtual organizing as well. We can hold you accountable, and sometimes that makes all the difference in the world. Most common thing we hear most of our clients say is, I've told him that already, and he won't listen. Or we've told our kids that, and they just won't do it. So sometimes it's not even that we're delivering these, record-breaking ideas that are like, wow, just incredible ideas. We're delivering something that inside most people's desire has been there. They've stated it. They don't know how to get started. So sometimes when we give the ideas, clients are like, yeah, I was thinking of that. Sometimes we give ideas and they think, I would have never thought of that. So the great thing is that you want it, you want to get organized, and you just make the decision today to hire help or just do it. Be a DIY. DIYs can get things done. You know what? It's not really fun organizing by yourself. Even me. I like to get people to help because the energy of two people working together towards the same goal is so much fun. It is a bummer when that other person can't be your spouse because they're not having as much fun and they're making you miserable. That's why you hire help. Trust me, hiring a professional home organizer is so much cheaper than the doctors and counselors because the stress. A clean, organized home can melt the stress away. And then you can start focusing on the important stuff like just hanging out together. I have lots of tips for you in 2019, and I will not have the lives go over 30 minutes. In the future, each Monday, I'm going to do a Major Mom Monday, and I'm going to give you little tips. And I might give you little directives like go get 5 books off your shelf and donate them. All right, I hope that you all have a majorly organized day. I love all the people that have been chiming in while I've been here. Sorry I didn't shout out to you while I was live because I would lose track if I tried to say hi to everyone who was on today. Anyway, I hope you have a majorly organized day, a majorly organized year, and we are here for you. So contact us today. And don't forget, Eric Remer, getting organized is not a luxury. It's a necessity.